Hi everyone, I'm Susan Mulvihill. I hope you don't mind one more pruning video, but I've been getting a lot of requests lately for information on how to prune roses. So I've got a bunch of tips to share with you today. Okay, I'm ready to get down to business. I have a pair of leather gloves because, as you know, most roses are very thorny and my poor hands are tired of getting poked. I've got a nice pair of pruners, and I also have a pair of loppers for the really big canes so that I can easily cut through them. Just like with pruning fruit trees or blueberry bushes, the first thing you're looking for with roses is broken branches or anything that's damaged. Those are the very first things to come off. Then you're going to address crossing branches, branches that grow across each other or into the center of the bush. So let me show you some things close up so you know what to look for. There's one more thing I wanted to mention, and that is grafted roses versus non-grafted roses. So for a very long time, we could only purchase grafted roses. And what that means is that there is a rootstock of a nice hardy variety onto which a scion or cutting from a particular cultivar of rose is grafted onto. And so you have that union between the rootstock and the scion that is very tender to winter cold. And so if you have a very tough winter, and if the top of the rose dies down to the ground, you really are done with that rose that you bought, because what's going to happen most likely is that the rootstock will sprout and you're going to be getting a rose that is the rootstock and not the one that you originally bought. Now, I have almost exclusively ungrafted roses. They're also known as own root roses, and I heartily recommend them, especially if you live in an area with cold winters like I do. So last year, this rose is a perfect example. What happened is we had a really tough winter, not this past winter, but the winter before. And this rose died back completely to the ground, but there's no graft. And so what happened is it came up, it did all of this new growth, it bloomed beautifully. And so ungrafted or own root roses are the way to go, because I didn't lose the rose. I still had that exact same cultivar that I originally purchased. So here is a sweet little rose. And you can see a lot of brown on it, but I'm happy to say there's a lot of green too, so that's a good sign. So again, the first thing I want to do is go in and get out anything that is dead or damaged. And I realize it's probably a little hard to see here, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So here's a low branch that is black. That's dead. Here's another one in the center. If I can get to it. This is also dead. Here's one that has a lot of black along the cane. It looks pretty decent near the bottom, so I'm going to leave a little bit of an area that a bud can come out of. You'll notice this one does not look good either. It's got some green on here. I might be able to prune it back to here. The only thing I don't like, though, is it's growing kind of in the center of the plant. Let me take off part of it first. Okay, and now that I've done that, I see that it's dead in the center of the cane, so I'm going to cut it down. And you'll find that you'll be doing that as you're pruning your roses. You'll have to do kind of a couple exploratory cuts and see, is a cane okay or is it on its way out? So this one, a lot of brown on it. It's also growing out of the center, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off. It's kind of in a weird angle here. Come on. There we go. Okay. A lot of ground cover growing in here. All right, what have we got left? Here's another dead one. Cutting it out. Okay, now I've got these two branches This one's got some problems on it. Notice that they're crossing. This is a stronger branch to prune to. So I'm going to go ahead and take off this back one. And then as you're pruning, especially if you need to remove part of a cane, it's always important that you prune to an outward facing bud, because you certainly don't want something growing back into the center. You're just going to have to prune it off later. And I've got some buds that are heading towards the center. I'm not going to prune toward them. So I've got a nice one here that is facing out, and that's where I'm going to prune to. So I prune right above the top of it. Now I do see some damage on this cane. I'm not sure what to make of that. It'll be something I'll keep an eye on. Okay, what else have we got here? I have this cane. It looks pretty good. I do have a bit of that mottling. Boy, this is just one of those years. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to the base. Okay, this one looks good near the base, not so good up high. I'm going to look for an outward facing bud and prune it off. This one, because it has a branch heading into the center of the plant, I'm going to go ahead and prune it off. This one I'm just going to tip back because it's got a dead tip here, but the rest of the cane looks good. I'm pruning right above an outward facing bud. I sound like a broken record here, but that's how I like to do this. You just have to go through, see how things are growing, and then make some decisions. And the nice thing is a rose will grow back, so if you make a mistake, it's okay. Well, that's the basics on pruning roses, and I hope that it was helpful. I have to be honest with you, as I've been pruning our bushes, I have been shocked to see how much winter kill there was. You know, we were having such a mild winter until about the middle of February, and then, boy, did it hit with a vengeance. And our poor little rose bushes are showing it, that's for sure. So I hope yours fared much better. Alrighty, that's all for now. I'll see you in a week.